But Hi, I'm Emily. I am the Associate Director in the Study Abroad office. And today I am joined by Jillian Todd, who's an intern in our office, as well as Abdel, who is also, he's a graduate intern in our office.
Hi, welcome to the General Study Abroad info session. Like Emily mentioned, my name is Jillian Todd. I am a senior student intern in the Study Abroad office, and I studied abroad for a semester in the Netherlands at the University of Groningen, and I studied abroad in Iceland on a summer faculty-led program.
Hi everyone, welcome to this info session. My name is Abdel. I'm from Morocco and I'm studying a master's in higher education student affairs at Nazareth College and the graduate intern at SUNY Genesee Study Abroad office. And I'm currently studying abroad, so and welcome to all of you.
We'll give you the opportunity if you'd like to introduce yourselves, through your unmute button, or if you wanted to type in the chat just a little bit about yourself, maybe your name, your year and major, and where you're interested in studying abroad. We'll open up the opportunity for you to do that. Don't feel pressured, but you can if you want. Maybe while you're doing that, we can talk a little bit sort of just to get started about why you might want to study abroad. Of course, there are countless reasons and they're all very personal to you, but some sort of attractive reasons that we can talk about study abroad as a really great thing are listed here. And I'll sort of highlight a few that I feel are most relevant to my experience, although I think all of them can really apply. So first of all, I'll talk about the first one, to increase your global awareness and connections. So this sort of happened to me twice while I was abroad, but I think, the time that I felt like most connected to a new culture and to new perspectives and experiences was when I went to the Netherlands. This was a time when I was sort of on my own, feeling really independent, but sort of learned that I am always going to need people around to sort of help me out. We have to kind of always lean on each other. And so I sort of found that through the people around me in the Netherlands. And it's a very international city. So I got all these new perspectives, from people who were visiting, from Spain and Lithuania and, sort of everywhere around the world. So through that, I got a lot of just sort of new ways to look at the world, and that was really helpful for me while abroad, but also something I could bring home. So yeah, that's sort of just one little snippet of what I could talk about there, but I'll hand it over to Abdel to maybe talk about his
Oh
experience.
yeah, thank you. Absolutely. You know, for me, when I think about study abroad, like there are a lot of things that you can gain, not just only academically, but also like personally, you develop at the personal level. Um, but again, like one of the core, again, the core gains that you would take from a study abroad is like you increase your academic excellence for sure. Um, and again, it's pretty interesting when you if you when you go abroad and you go to the classes there that are completely different from the classes that you've been used to most of your life here in the US. So when you go, you gain like new viewpoints and learn both inside and outside classroom also. Um, and then you increase your research kind of opportunities for you. So for example, for me, I'm Moroccan, as I mentioned, and I've always studied in Moroccan classrooms. And when I came to the US here, it was a completely different shift. So, but the shift was pretty positive for sure, and it was insightful for me to go to the classrooms and gain from my American colleagues for sure. So absolutely, like academically, the gain there is pretty valuable. You kind of like gain new insights of a different educational system of the country that you go to, and then you start comparing, and then you start seeing you start being, oh, this is interesting about this educational system of this country. I wish we had this one back home. And then you go again, we go, oh, back home we have this thing that is different again, and it's really interesting. So for you, you gain that critical thinking capacity to start comparing between the two educational system that you're used to. both in the host country that you go to and the one that you've been always uh, used to here in your country. And yeah, so academically, it's very valuable. Study abroad. You study with students who are you may end up in a classroom with students coming from different countries as well. So it's very valuable both culturally and academically. And yeah, so for me as a person studying now abroad, I am learning a lot from my American classmates. It's true that I'm at the grad level, but again, I'm really gaining a lot of insights from my friends. And yeah, it's very valuable. So I can give the floor to Julian now to talk about the next one.
Mhm. Okay, so, we can tell you all we want about how great our experiences were, but we understand that maybe you don't want to listen to us because who are we? But some really important figures in our culture have studied abroad and have spoken highly of their experiences. So maybe you'll trust their word if you don't trust ours. So, for example, President Reagan said that studying abroad can elevate our ideals, deepen our tolerance, and sharpen our appetite for knowledge. And President Barack Obama has said that sort of the exchanges that happen while you're abroad can break down walls between people, bringing us together and just to sort of remind us that we are here in this joint pursuit of life. So all really profound words by these people who have set examples for us in a lot of other ways, and make it so, maybe we want to listen to this example they've set too.
Yeah, absolutely. I just before that, Emily, please. I just want to add, like, if we look at this kind of testimonials by these great people, there is one thing that is shared in common there. So for me, I benefit from the Fulbright program, which is there. Down there by Senator William Fulbright. So for him, like the idea of like exchange of people and ideas was to it was the program was established right after World War II, and for him one way to increase mutual understanding and fight unfounded stereotypes was through exchange of people and that would only happen through having international students coming to the US and students going outside, American students going abroad too. So absolutely, the cultural aspect is very important because when you become, there's always, I'm pretty sure you've heard the concept of cultural competence. So this is very important. So one benefit that you will gain for sure is you become culturally competent, and also there's the term culturally. You become culturally humble as well by being humble enough to understand people's differences and also understand them and like go try to fight those unfounded stereotypes. So that's definitely one important thing that I want to stress that these three testimonies have in common as well in this
Mhm.
journey.
All right, so now we'll sort of outline what opportunities exist for you to study abroad. And I think Abdel, you were going to start this one.
Okay, yeah. So you may be wondering about the opportunities that exist through the SUNY GeneSU website. So if you go to the GeneSU, there are a number of opportunities that exist. Some of them are with through host institutions, meaning like the partner institutions abroad that SUNY GeneSU has relations with, and there's the faculty-led program ones, which Julian will shed light on, and there is the virtual global educational experience, which is now the I would say the trend, or the common kind of study abroad experiences that a lot of students are having currently. So for the host institution program, when you go, if you click on the yeah, if you go to the website, so if you click on the search programs, you will this page will pop up to you, and you will have a number of SUNY Geneseo provided programs there. But if you scroll up a little bit, Emily, you will. So if you go to the if you go, I don't know. It depends on you what you want, where you want to go, and the country of interest to you. So for example, if we click on, let's say England. Okay, let's do England. So if you click on England, apply search, a number of programs in England will pop up to you there. So, and if you click on one of them there, so for the path, it will give you a lot of information, the map there that shows you where exactly the city is, and as not just a snapshot of the city or like its history, its culture, and everything. And then, if you scroll down, you will find a number of valuable information like the eligibility criteria, the application, the information about the host institution, and the program cost sheet, which is very important. So you will find them there. If you click on it, you will definitely have like a number. You will have an idea of of how much the program would cost you as a student. So, and again, if you go back, yes, you can go back. Okay, yeah, and yes, and then you will have application instructions as well for you, like how to apply through some, like both through Senior Geneseo and or through the university itself. So, and then you have application deadlines, which you need to be mindful of as well. So this page basically gives you uh, detailed information about the program, the city, the application instructions, the cost sheet, so basically everything. So if you go to this page, you will have all your probably questions answered, if not most of, if not all of them. And again, yeah, so that's what I would advise you to do.
Yeah, that was a super helpful sort of like outline of sort of what you need to do to start. That was so the page that you were just looking at, right, was a host institution. So Abdel sort of spoke about how you would have to, in this case, apply through SUNY Geneseo and then also apply to the host institution where you would like to study. This is relevant for sort of this category of study abroad. But another sort of like term or like study abroad jargon that we use is faculty-led programs. And essentially what that means is that you would be traveling abroad with a faculty member or multiple from SUNY Geneseo on a trip that they've planned for you to basically take a course that maybe you could have taken on campus at Geneseo, or it at least would like articulate as a course from Geneseo, but it's an experience that you wouldn't have been able to have on campus. So when I studied abroad in Iceland, that was a faculty-led program, and it was a course called Writing and Knowing the Land. And it looks like we might be able to look at the program page for that. This is an interesting course because it is interdisciplinary. It's both a creative writing and a geology or environmental studies course. And so there were two faculty members who were leading sort of two different sections. But this was nice as a faculty-led program because I could make connections with Geneseo professors and Geneseo students in this international setting. And then I could carry those connections directly back to Geneseo, and they sort of translated into new opportunities that I had sort of through those faculty members. So this is just one category of study abroad that you could pursue. There's also, as Abdel mentioned, the host institution where you would be traveling abroad to a whole nother university, and you could spend a semester there or even a shorter amount of time. We have some programs like that too.
Mhm. Thank you, Julian. That was very valuable and insightful as well. And the other option that's, as we all know, due to COVID, a lot of like travel restrictions happened, and most of students who are interested in studying abroad, the first question that comes to mind now, probably before any like financial aid related questions, is like, can I go and study abroad? So now, as a way, like there is now what we call the virtual global educational experience, which Geneseo has created um, recently. So these programs, as you know, you might not be physically in the host country, in the country that you're interested in there, but you still can learn culturally, academically, and still make an impact in the community there. So there are courses offered, and they are in two types. In the first type is they are courses related, and the second type is internship related as well. For the courses that are related, you find, if you go to the page, you will find information about them there. There is the Webster University Athens one, um, for a study abroad, for a virtual one there. So when I was looking on the online, I saw that most of the some of the deadlines were passed. But I want to focus on the virtual internships there. So for the virtual internships there, they are they are really interesting. So you could at the comfort of your own pace and in your home, you can still make an impact and engage in a project, in a community based project. So for there is the three of them: the Kaya Responsible Travel, the FSD Uganda one, which one of the interns or our colleagues at the office has participated in. Um, I don't know if the video will work, Emily, but you will find a 3-minute video there that summarizes information about the virtual study abroad program there, and you will see a testimonial of the our colleague or student who participated in one of the virtual program there. Uh, Again, you can watch it at home on your in your home, and yeah. So yes, it's virtual, but still the cultural aspect, you will work with faculty members and students in the community abroad. So for example, this the student that I mentioned, her name is Francesca. That you will see on the video if you watch it later. She was like, her experience was very positive. She still was able to make her project work with the students there in the community in a remote area in Uganda. And it's still, she couldn't go there for sure, true, but she still made an impact there. So that's one thing that you could think about as well during COVID now. And yes, definitely an area to check out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's great. I think, okay, yeah, great. All right, so this is a map from 2019 that highlights the countries where we have study abroad programs. This is an ever-changing map. We always have new programs popping up and developing. So even now in 2021, this is going to look a little bit different. Next year, it'll probably change again. But this is just sort of to give you an idea of where we have programs. And I think it's sort of exciting and just sort of eye-opening to like see a map highlighting these places rather than just a list of countries, right? Sometimes it's easier to conceptualize with these images. So we just wanted to leave this in here for you to check out.
Absolutely. I also would like the our listeners here to probably, like, write in the feature chat if the which country they are interested in to go. Like, looking at the map here, there are, like, you can see like a lot of countries in different continents: Europe, Africa, Latin America, and Asia even. So looking at that, what country that probably you are thinking about either now or going to in the future. So I can see my country there too. It's one of the partner institutions. Yes, it's in Morocco. So yeah.
And
Okay, thank you. I want to also add in that there's also other SUNY study abroad programs that you can go on as a SUNY Geneseo student. So certainly if there's a country that you're really interested in and it's not represented on this map, it doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity for you to study abroad there. So I just want to make you aware of that. But I am on here to share some information about study abroad during the time of COVID-19. We will be having a session on Thursday at noon. We're going to do a deep dive into this. and I would encourage you to register and check that session out with my colleague Sam Cardamone. But I wanted to share this slide with you just to give you a little bit of information. Of course, this is a major concern. You've probably heard that we recently had to suspend summer 2021. That decision was made by the SUNY provost. And so we unfortunately are not able to offer in-person programs for this summer. And that's why those virtual opportunities are so critical. But we remain hopeful that by the time the fall rolls around that we'll be able to resume study abroad. And I want to show you kind of what we're looking at. So our COVID-19 FAQ page has a lot of really important information about how we make our decision. And so we look at a couple different resources when we assess the risk of a location. We look at the U.S. State Department, and also we look to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And we look at a program first through the macro lens. So when we're looking to make a decision, what does the State Department, what does the CDC, what does the World Health Organization say about sending students to these locations? And I believe if I looked at the chat, I think I saw there was some interest in, let's see, I see Italy, South Korea. So let me go with one of those countries. So if you go to the State Department website and you look at Find International Health Information, and if we look at Italy, this gives us kind of all of the overview of travel to Italy. And right now it's a 4-level scale. As you can see here for travel advisories, Italy is currently at a level 3 for reconsidered travel. And it has been well within Geneseo's risk in the past to run a program to a level 3 country. An example of this was that we ran a program to Cuba. But this isn't the only thing we're looking at. We definitely would not be sending students to a level 4 country, and that's what there was a global health warning in the last year in the springtime for a level 4. So a lot of these countries have come down from that higher level at least. And then we are going to be looking at the CDC. They have a COVID-19 scale that we've been using, and they evaluate the risk of countries on a 4-level scale as well, with 4 being the worst. And so here's the scale here. 4 is very high, 3 is high, level 2 is moderate, and level 1 is low. So if we look at the map, a lot of the world is in red, including our own country. And you'll see where there is a low risk. Those are countries like Australia, New Zealand, China, and some of the Asian countries like Thailand. So those are countries well within our risk of running to. We would also consider a level 2 country, which is this orange, so you can kind of see where that's represented, including South Korea. I know there was some interest in South Korea. And then there is, I think that's the lighter orange. Let's see here. That looks like South Korea is, yep, the lighter orange. So it's level 2. So, and then we are looking at level 3 is very iffy whether we would run a program there, especially if they were also a U.S. Department of State level 3. we would be looking at that. We would also be looking at entry requirements. So for example, New Zealand won't let students enter for on a tourist visa. So that any short-term experience to New Zealand would be a tourist visa, and therefore we couldn't even send students to New Zealand for the summer because even though their COVID cases are lower, because they won't let Americans in, for example. So we're taking all these things into account. So that's kind of the macro perspective. And then we're looking at the micro perspective. So, okay, if everything looks good from a macro perspective, then what is our partner doing on the ground? What safety measures are in place to keep you guys safe on the ground in country? And then the other thing we are looking at is we have suspension dates. So this is as long as SUNY doesn't come in to make a decision for us or the governor. This is the date, the earliest decision date we'll suspend programs on. And so for I'm sorry, that's not what I wanted. This one. So for this upcoming academic year and fall, we're looking to make the decision on June 1st. We want to make the decision early enough so that if you need to get a visa, if you need to book, book your flight, get housing arrangements made, you can do that, but we don't want to book it so late that you can't make alternative plans. So that's the earliest decision date that we are looking to right now, with the exception of a few programs that start earlier, and usually like these programs start in mid-July or late July. We're going to make the call on May 1st for the Argentina program, the Costa Rica program, the Mexico program, and the South Africa program. And then there's a lot of really good other kind of Q&As here for you to kind of read through. Obviously, this is changing as things change with the virus and what we know about the virus and testing and entry requirements for the country, but this will give you some good idea of some helpful information related to study abroad in COVID-19.
All right, so we spoke a little bit before about the virtual global educational experiences. So I'm not sure that we need to go too much more into depth about this, but as Abdel highlighted, even though we can't travel right now, there are still ways to make an impact globally. Luckily, Geneseo is offering opportunities to do that. I think Abdel, you spoke a little bit about like the breakdown between, internships and courses and such. And we have some pretty helpful pages on our Geneseo Study Abroad website that detail this. There's also a really great video you can watch sort of about the global educational experience. I think we maybe had that linked back on another page. But I don't know if we want to take the time to even watch that right now.
I just wanted to additionally highlight that we now have a scholarship available for our virtual global education experiences. So most of our programs just cost a little bit above and beyond standard tuition to participate in them. These are because we're working with a partner abroad to deliver these internships or academic experiences. And so the scholarship that we now have for the summer can basically help cover that extra cost and even maybe eliminate the extra cost entirely. It's a $500 scholarship. It is a need-based scholarship, and the application deadline is the same as the summer application deadline, April 15th. We are also planning a whole array of fall virtual global education programs, so just be on the lookout for that. And we'll be adding additional virtual global education programs here as well. But we are happy to meet with you and discuss any of these programs in further detail.
All right. So there are so many reasons why students think that they can't study abroad. And, luckily we've considered a lot of these and there are ways to work around them. Sometimes students are afraid that they're not going to be able to graduate on time if they study abroad. We make sure to work with you and plan ahead. You're also required before you go abroad to fill out sort of like a course waiver type of thing, where you basically plan how the credits abroad are going to transfer back home. So, you can make sure ahead of time that everything's going to be set and that you'll still graduate on time, and we'll help you to do that. Of course, especially right now, there's a lot of fear around traveling. It can be scary to do things by yourself if you're going on a program by yourself. It can be scary just to relocate to a completely new place in the world, with new people and sort of new customs. But ultimately, I felt this fear too. And I think that it paid off so much more than I had ever imagined. And I would bet that most people who started out fearful would say the same thing. So we're here to talk with you about that if you'd like to chat. Um, Abdel, do you want to take the rest of these?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. That was very valuable. Those are like concerns that I have, that you had, everybody has before. Especially when it comes to like financial aid. For me, I had to look for scholarships, to go and study abroad. So again, as I have mentioned, um, and Emily mentioned as well, we have a number of scholarship that are offered through Geneseo for you guys if you're interested in going abroad. We will look into that shortly. And again, like safety concerns due to COVID 19 now, a lot of people have concerns with that. So we definitely take that into consideration as a study abroad interns here and professionals. So definitely we take that into consideration. So we don't want you just to throw you in a country and be like, oh, just like go there and study without. So definitely we take that into consideration. Emily I just showed you like a map of countries and how that is assessed by the CDC and other health organizations. So for sure, if it's not safe yet to travel, then we will advise accordingly, and definitely. So safety concerns, we look into that, and financial aid. Yes, scholarship are available that would help you alleviate or reduce a little bit of the cost for you to study abroad. Um,
All right. So I think so. We already kind of looked at a couple of cost sheets, or at least just the one when we were going through the program pages. But we sort of create these cost sheets for every program, and they're all similar. So you can compare, and it's like pretty convenient to do that comparison. But basically, the major costs when you study abroad include a program differential, which is like health insurance, a couple of other things that are detailed on there, around these cost sheets. There's also the tuition, housing and accommodations, and flights. Um, there are other considerations that you should think about, like passports and visas. These are all included on these cost sheets. So sometimes the total that you see at the bottom of a cost sheet isn't actually the total you're going to pay if you already have something like a passport. Um, so maybe we could just take a look at one of these. We looked at the England bath spa one, a second ago. Um, but basically, you'll see here, like detailed on the left, sort of everything, just like descriptions for all of these numbers. And of course, the price is going to differ a little bit if you're an out-of-state student or in-state. But essentially, you'll see like the subtotal, which is due to Geneseo, the study abroad office, and then all the way at the bottom you have the grand total, which includes things like we mentioned you might already have, such as a passport, books, your flights, and things like that. So I don't know if you want to expand on that, Abdel or Emily, but
yeah, absolutely. Definitely, like you have to bear in mind that it depends again on personal expenses as well, and how like crazy you are about spending. So I would say definitely have to take that into consideration. So the total cost is not really exactly the total cost sometimes that you would pay. So um, and again, I just also want to add that it depends on the program and destination and the duration of the program. So some destinations would cost you less than going to another destination, and also if you're going for like a semester exchange program, it's not like going for an academic year exchange program or a summer program or something like that. So those are all variables and factors that decide like the total cost that you would pay for sure.
Just to add in there, we're using a term called exchange program. By exchange, what we mean is that we send students to that partner institution, and then they send students to us, and each set of students pays their homeschool tuition. And so these tend to be more affordable because you're paying SUNY tuition prices. So the University of Groningen program, for example, is an example of an exchange program. We have another kind of study abroad program we call like a one directional program. And this would be, for example, we have another cost sheet example here. Oop. And that would be like, sorry, the presentation doesn't want me to run slide. Let's see.
Maybe if you
move this up.
what move?
Okay, well that would be like the Webster University Athens program. And so I click on it here, it'll let me go. And so for this program, because it is a private institution, and because it's a non-exchange program, they have a higher tuition. So a bulk of what you're paying in addition for this kind of program is the tuition difference between Geneseo and this program. And so this one you'll see is a little bit more than going on an exchange program. This isn't always the case. We do have some one-directional non-exchange programs that are actually about the same as being at Geneseo. It just depends on what country and how far the US dollar goes. So it varies. And the other thing I just want to mention is most of our students do study abroad in the summer, and a lot of times summer has its advantages, and maybe it's a shorter period of time, it's easier to fit in academically, or if you're on a sports team or things of that nature. But certainly the semester tends to be the better value, even for some of our more expensive programs, because you're already normally taking classes during that time, and students typically aren't taking classes during the summer or winter intersession. So you're abroad longer, and so it's usually a better value. You gain more from your experience than on a short-term kind of program. But I know that a semester experience is not for everybody, and there's a lot of really good value in doing a shorter term experience as well. So we do spring break, winter intercession, and summer programs as well. And in fact, those are our most popular programs versus the semester or the academic year kind of program. So go back to the presentation.
All right, so there are a number of ways that you can help pay for study abroad. One of them is financial aid, and this is an important place to make a distinction between a semester program and a summer program. If you're studying abroad during a semester and you already use financial aid for school at Geneseo, you can usually keep the same financial aid package so long as you fulfill the same requirements that you would need to fulfill at Geneseo. So sometimes that means keeping a certain grade point average, sometimes that means taking a certain number of credits. We help you make sure, to the best of our ability, that you can continue to fulfill those requirements so you can keep your financial aid if you go during the semester. If you're studying abroad during the summer, you can use the financial aid that you already have, but you can't get more financial aid. So you could allocate funds, say, from the spring semester, and just take a section of that, move it to the summer. So you wouldn't technically be getting any more money in aid, but you could use some of the money that you already have if you want to make a transfer to your summer program. So that's essentially how the financial aid portion of study abroad works.
I will add just a few caveats to that. That was a really good outline. You do need to take at least 6 credits during the summer to access your federal financial aid. And the one exception to the rule that Jillian outlined is that if you're a Pell Grant recipient, you can get extra aid in the summer. So that would be the one exception.
As for the second option, scholarships and grants, as you know, just the term indicates, grant and scholarship, the nature of it is pretty competitive. So definitely a lot of people apply for that, and they tend to have a competitive edge there. So there are scholarships that are administered or offered by SUNY GenSU. If you go to the website here, as you can see, if you click, you will find a number of scholarships offered by GenSU from starting from 500 up to $1,000. So, and each one has its own requirement for, like, you know, where you're going to study, how long, and stuff like that. And when you apply, definitely a lot of they take into consideration a lot of things: your grades, your essay, you and everything. So definitely it's a competitive thing, but you know, it's just, I encourage you to apply for them. And there are other kinds of scholarships that are offered as well. We have, depending on where you go. So if you say I'm Middle East, for example, if you decided to go to the Middle East, like we have we have programs that are offered in Morocco and Jordan. So apply for Amidis, then you might end up getting a scholarship there. The the Gilman International Scholarship too, available there. Another common one, Boren Awards too. So again, yeah, if you are a Pell Grant recipient too, so you are definitely eligible to get that one. So if you keep scrolling down, you just keep looking for which one is the best for you, which one is the most tempting for you, and then just go and apply for that one.
Dr. Michael Mills, who's the director of National Fellowships and Scholarships on campus. I'll drop his email in a minute. He is our go-to person for all these outside scholarship opportunities. He'll help you with your essay. He'll help keep you on track to get your application in. He's a really good resource for any of these outside scholarships.
Mm-hmm. He's great, and I actually have a meeting with him right after this.
Nice.
All right, so just about wrapping up, how do you get started? Well, you've already taken one step by being here or maybe watching this presentation later, so that's great. Hopefully you feel a little bit more confident about starting the process. The seed has been planted. But one of the things you could do now, if you're interested in speaking in more detail about your particular case, is to schedule a meeting with us through EAB Navigate. This might be new to some of you, so we've linked the instructions for how to do this. Essentially, you would just, it's through My Geneseo usually, but you can get on, and I think Emily might be navigating to that. But essentially, you'll just select study abroad as the kind of appointment you want. And you can select a time that you think is going to work for you. A calendar will show up. And basically, you know, you'll write your name and then you'll get an email with a Zoom link, as well as a short Google form to fill out beforehand, just to sort of get the ball rolling for you, as well as give us some information so we can be ready to help you as efficiently and specifically as possible. And then So yep, you can meet with us. We also have this virtual study abroad fair happening right now. We're calling it Ready, Set, Study Abroad. And this is one of our first events for this month-long series of, great, helpful study abroad sessions. So thanks for being here and kicking this off with us. You'll see, and we have a whole nother page or slide for this after, but you'll see the program sessions. So there are a couple of helpful, just sort of general ones happening first, and then there are program specific sessions that you'll see here. So if you already know you want to go to the Netherlands, there is a session already set up for you, and you can click the register button if you would like to join. And if you happen to not be able to make it at that time, you can still register and let us know, and we will send you the recording of the session after it happens. Yep, so you can do all of those things. You can browse the programs online, sort of like, what we showed you how to do earlier. If you just go to SUNY Geneseo Study Abroad, search programs, find the program you want, and look at that detailed program page. And then also it's a good idea to meet with your advisor at some point in this process, just to make sure that you have all of your credits planned out and you'll be able to graduate on time, and do so to, the best of your
Mhm. Okay, good. Thank you. Very briefly, if you've decided to apply, very quickly you go to the page, and you go through the Horizons page there, where this page will pop up, and you will have to create to log in using your login ID, Geneseo login ID, and basically you start creating your own application. So apply. So you click to apply, and then you go through which one? Yeah, Geneseo students. You enter your email there, and then you start the application. There can be like other supplemental forms that are required, uh, and so basically you fill in your information there, and there is an essay there. Sometimes letters of recommendation are required for semester and year long programs, and there is an application fee there at the end. So it's a $20 one. And after that, your application is reviewed by uh, the study abroad office and faculty members, and depending on the program you applied for. And they get back to you after that. If there is any missing document, the study abroad office team will email you about that. And they will keep updating you about anything that comes up in your application. So yeah, Julian just touched upon the Ready, Set, Study Abroad month-long info sessions. It starts today, and this is one of the sessions that we have delivered so far. So definitely, if you're interested, go and check out the website, and you will find more information about which there are some specific info sessions that you might be interested in. And thank you for showing up here today, and we hope the session has been very helpful and useful
I,
to you.
I want to add a couple things to the Ready, Set, Study Abroad. A lot of the program specific info sessions, we have alumni who were students who participated in the program. So we have students who have been on these programs who will be there to answer your questions from the student perspective. So that's really valuable. And sometimes in some of the cases, we'll have the partner institution abroad, we'll have representatives from that partner institution there. And then the more general sessions we have going on throughout this week, we have guests as well. So like tomorrow's financial aid session, we'll have, again, from the financial aid office available to answer your questions for the COVID-19, the study abroad in COVID-19 session. We'll have Laura Evans, the campus community nurse there, help facilitate that session. And then Dr. Michael Mills will be helping me with the scholarship session. So really valuable to also hear from other departments on campus related to planning ahead for your study abroad program. So thank you to Abdel and Jillian for walking us through all this. And we just want to open it up at this point for questions. So you could either drop your question in to the chat, or you can take off your mic and we'll answer your question there. Thank you for joining us.
Have a great Monday.
Yeah.
Bye, Jillian. Have a good day.